Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining me today. I decided to make this workshop specifically for parents because I've seen so many times between friends, clients, and also myself whose back pain either began or became way worse when they became a parent. So, whether you're in the thick of it with babies and toddlers, or maybe your kids are a little bit older, but your back pain has not magically disappeared, and you're ready for some relief that's actually achievable within your busy, crazy schedule for once and for all. So, let me ask you this. Are you sick of your back pain holding you down, making you feel depressed, out of shape, and unable to keep up with your kids? All of the chiropractic visits, massage appointments, pain pills, and whatever else that you've tried to solve this just is not bringing you lasting relief. And they also are not taking into account the crazy demands that are put on you when it comes to parenting young children. But here's the good news. You can find a way to get rid of your back pain for good. You can do it within your own home, even with the craziest, busiest schedule. I hit rock bottom with back pain when my son was about a year and a half old. So it was toddler times on full throttle. One day I just went down to crouch down to pick him up, and a sciatic spasm shot through me like a bullet. And I was left on the floor. I had to crawl to bed, and I spent literally weeks totally incapacitated, unable to take care of my kiddo, unable to take care of myself. My mom actually had to come and stay with us so that she could take care of my son and myself while my husband was at work and just try to keep it all together. At that time, it was so bad that I actually had to be helped in and out of the bathtub, and she had to dress me and feed me, and obviously all of the things that she had to do that anyone has to do when they're taking care of a year and a half old baby that's running around the house. So it was really crazy. It was very difficult. And I spent months unable to go to work. So, being self employed, that meant I also wasn't getting paid. So, I was just desperately running all over town, trying to go to appointments, find a solution, just try to, crawl my way back up to some semblance of normal and be able to take care of our child, go to work, take care of the family, all of those things. What I found was I was a full-time massage therapist at the time, and massage was temporary relief. Chiropractic, temporary relief. Physical therapy was being sent home with a printout of hamstring stretches, very basic things, and nothing was working at all. What I realized was all of the experts that I was visiting were just treating my symptoms rather than addressing the roots of the problem. So I did a ton of research, I tried a million things, and I began just really calling upon the knowledge that I had as a massage therapist of the body, of movement, and really started to dive deep into the root causes of back pain, all of them, and how to address those in order to never experience that hell ever again. I started to think about what movements and mechanics were the triggers of the pain. Think leaning and lifting over a deep crib and pulling your baby up and out, getting up and down off of the floor all day long, nursing, holding your kid on one hip while you're making dinner or washing the dishes, all of those sorts of things. And how I could prepare my body and my specific muscles to move in the superhuman way that every parent needs to move on a daily basis. And on all that time, how could I do so while keeping my back safe and supported? So I went into the movement, the muscles, and also into the mindset, which is, a very important aspect. It's the mental side of back pain. We all know that stress can be a big agitator of back pain, and I started developing ways for myself to get out of that cycle of fear, stress, pain, more fear, more stress, and more pain. So that was 5 years ago. I am now totally independent from back pain. I know what to do on a daily basis in order to keep my body feeling good, feeling healthy, and I no longer have that fear hanging over my head that that back pain is going to strike me at any moment, which is very different than I felt the prior decade before that sciatic spasm that I had. In this last 5 years of feeling completely independent from the back pain, I've had 2 warnings from my low back. And both times I was able to quickly move through it and knew exactly what to do. One of the times I had been rear-ended in the car, and the second time was just when I disregarded kind of what I know to do to keep my back healthy. So knowing the steps to take and knowing exactly what to do kept me from being extremely stressed and fearful about the back pain recurring. And I just followed my steps, I followed my process, and it was only a few days of minor pain and then gone, and it has not recurred. And you can have the same results. This process has not only worked for me, it's also working for many of the clients that I have in my back pain program. It's exactly what I teach in my coaching programs, and people are having great results. And many of them are busy parents just like you. So let's talk about some of the reasons why back pain is so common amongst parents of young children. The main one being the unexpected physical demands of parenting. Think back to when you were creating your first nursery, Pinterest-worthy, beautiful things. I'm sure that you were a little bit unaware of the reality that was about to hit you just on the physical level. The never-ending bending over, lifting, holding, carrying, changing diapers, nursing, all done with a less than ideal posture, all while you're exhausted, and all while the baby is getting heavier, stronger, and putting up a bigger fight. You contort your body in ways as a parent that you didn't previously think were possible. Twisting around to avert a crisis in the car seat while you're driving down the highway, running and grabbing them off the floor in a split second without any time to think about how that might affect your body. So, also nursing and co-sleeping, sometimes you spend hours on one side, but you finally got the baby to sleep, so you're not going to just roll over to make yourself more comfortable because you're going to wake the baby up and then spend another sleepless night. So we do things that are not so good for our own body just to kind of survive the craziness that is parenting. And the ways that we move every day are the triggers of pain. They become the repetitive habits that wear down our body little by little, kind of like water dripping on a rock, just drop by drop, day by day, slowly eroding at the strength of certain muscles and structures in our body. So those repetitive movements, especially the ones that are very specific to parenting, are usually done without proper body mechanics, and they're just wearing things down little by little, day by day, until one day you sneeze, your back goes out, and you're left flat on the floor wondering what in the world just happened, because you were not aware that you were kind of eroding at those structures little by little. Now, tack on for those of you who also carried your child through pregnancy and childbirth, and your physical structure went through an extra crazy transformation in addition to all of the demands that all parents have. Pregnancy can be the beginning of back pain due to the imbalances in your pelvis, distribution of weight, your center of gravity changing, loss of abdominal strength. And then when you go through childbirth, oftentimes the inner core and the pelvic floor muscles become damaged or weak. All of this can contribute to back pain and injury. So with all of this being said, it's no wonder that back pain is such a common thing when you're in charge of little tiny people. And the only way to counteract all of the crazy physical demands of being a parent is by addressing movement. So, you heard me talk earlier about movement, muscles, and mindset. That's what I call my 3 M's. So, the first one being movement. And what that means is you need movement in your life that is correct movement, movement that supports the foundation of your body, movement that eases pain and prevents it from coming back. The old way of treating back pain is very passive, and it really just needs to be thrown out. Doctors are treating the symptoms with painkillers or injections. They often give you advice about weeks of bed rest and then avoiding physical activity for the rest of your life for fear of blowing out your back. No attention is being given to the way that you're moving throughout your day. Chiropractors are another passive treatment. They adjust your body. Maybe they get your body back in alignment and relieve that pain for a short amount of time, but without strengthening and lengthening the muscles that actually need to hold your body in that correct alignment, it's always going to be a temporary relief. You're just going to also be put on a loop of appointments that you don't have time for. So until you address the way you move and the triggers of your pain, you're going to live in a world of temporary relief versus lasting results. I saw this on a daily basis on my massage table. Clients coming into me for back pain or neck pain looking for relief. Sure, I could soothe the pain, I could relax the tissue, but as soon as they got up and off of that massage table, they were going to be right back to their life. And they were going to be right back to those repetitive movements that we talked about that got them there in the first place. It was really frustrating for me to not be able to give them anything more than a temporary fix, because I knew in my heart of hearts that after that massage, if they didn't have the proper guidance into a movement routine that was promoting the strengthening and healing of that pain, they were going to be right back where they started. So that's why now when I work with clients in my coaching programs where I'm providing long-term and lasting relief, I go through what your life, your day-to-day life actually looks like. The most mundane of things are the most important often. And guess what? One of my very first questions for people is, do you care for a young child? Why is that? Because if they do, I'm going to have about 100 suggestions as to how they can immediately start to adjust their movement patterns. Now, the other reason that I ask that question is because parents have zero time for themselves. And the lack of time makes it really daunting to go get help when you're in pain. So if you head to the chiropractor like we were talking about earlier and they sign up 3 visits a week, something like that is not going to work for a parent of a young child. That's exactly why I came up with the system that I did. Because remember, I was in the thick of it as a parent when I developed this as well. So I had to come up with things that really work, that work efficiently, because nobody's got time for anything else. There's always an endless list of things that need to get done when you're a parent. And depending on the age of your kid, there's also a never-ending list of kind of changing needs from you to them. Throw on top of that the lack of sleep, the exhaustion, and I probably don't need to explain to any of you that all of a sudden there are a lot less hours in the day to get anything done than there ever were before. So in order to support the movement that we just talked about, we have to work on the second M as well, muscles. Interestingly, muscles are not often focused on when treating back pain. There is so much emphasis placed on your discs and your spine, things that you have almost no control over. Meanwhile, the soft tissue, the muscles, and connective tissue that are largely responsible for most of your back pain are being completely ignored. And those are the things that you actually have control over, that you can actually improve and work on every single day. So muscles are so important. I mean, if they're tight and shortened, they can pull on your pelvis, causing daily back pain and postural issues. They can put the pressure on your low back, And then the muscles that are responsible for supporting your body in movement are often left weak and unused, and also not activated when you go to move. And this is due to a lack of awareness in the body, and also it's often because we're given the wrong information. I'm going to give you a hint. Working on your abs is not the key to solving your back pain. When you learn the proper body mechanics, the correct way to move, and you're working and utilizing the correct muscles that you need to be using, then you start to develop a muscle memory that protects you even when you're in odd positions. Because let's face it, you're a parent. The crazy and unpredictable things that we have to do every day when caring for babies and young children are always going to put you in compromising positions with your body. And you need to know how to train your body in order to be able to handle those without injury. So in the 3 M's that we spoke about, the third M is mindset. And like we talked about a little bit earlier, this is a really big one. Stress is a huge contributor to pain, particularly low back pain. It's one of the most common places to hold stress and tension. Stressful or emotionally charged times in life can and do cause your back to go out. And often having a baby, being a parent, let's face it, while it's very beautiful, it is often difficult, exhausting, and very, very stressful. So the other side of mindset is that once you've had a really bad back pain episode, it creates this huge fear around it, because you do not want to repeat that experience. And so having that fear actually causes more pain because you're subconsciously tightening up your muscles around the back. And it's no wonder that you do such a thing, because it's just a primal fear. I mean, we're talking about your spinal cord here. It's a very crucial part of your body. And it's just a reflexive response to want to tighten up around it and protect it and leave it not vulnerable to injury. But the problem is that subconscious tightening and protecting is not doing what you need to protect your low back. And it's actually causing a great deal more pain, which puts you back in that cycle of fear, stress, and pain. The other thing is that lots of times when you have recurring back pain, people develop a fear of movement and exercise. You know how it is. I'm sure you have somebody in your life who's telling you can't run, you can't lift that, you can't do this, and you can't do that because you're going to put your back out. And those words, they get rooted in your mind and they create so much fear that, oh my gosh, if I do that, I'm going to be back in that horrible situation that I was in 2 years ago or whatever it may be. But the problem with fearing movement and fearing exercise is then you just develop a more sedentary lifestyle that's going to contribute to all of the shortened, tightened, and weak muscles that cause a lot of back pain. So the 3 M's, movement, muscles, and mindset, are really crucial, and that's how I address pain both in the neck and in the back in my coaching programs. Now, if any of what I've talked about today has kind of struck a chord with you or sounds familiar, and you're curious about what the steps are that you need to take to get feeling better and back to your life, able to keep up with your kids, and really just doing the things that you should be focusing on as a parent rather than suffering from all of this back pain, then book a call with me and we can just talk about your specific situation. Just see where you're at with things, how long you've been dealing with this, how often it's happening, what are the triggers in your life, and really come up with a plan as to how to go forward and get you feeling better as quickly as possible so that you can just be running around and enjoying your kids and not worrying constantly about putting your back out. Also, as a thanks for showing up today, I'm going to give all of you a free training. And this is something that I pulled from my coaching program itself. And it's going to be really, really great for all parents. It's going to help you learn how to more safely and more correctly move, doing some of the most common things, which is getting up and down off of the floor and lifting and bending. So it's a great training. It's an invaluable thing for all of you to learn. And I just wanted to give you that just for showing up today. So if you would like to get that training, drop me a line and I'll send that over your way. And let's get on a call and just talk about what you can be doing in order to move forward and become independent from your back pain as well. So thanks again for joining. I look forward to hearing from you all, and make sure you drop me a line so you can grab that free training.